Hello, grade 12, and welcome to our new discussion for the second quarter. And this will be a very interesting discussion for us to learn today because we will tackle different types of bending in PVC. This will be another week for us to learn something and to find out what would be the best techniques in bending PVC. Our objective for this lesson is identify the different types of PVC conduit pipe and bend effects, demonstrate on how 90 degrees bend is done, perform the task costly and efficiently, practice responsible consumerism by working economically. So before we proceed for our discussion for this day, I will ask you first regarding with our previous lesson, what are the different types of the knobs? Okay, good. There are two types of knobs, which is the split and the solid type. Now, in using knobs, there should be an advantages. What are those advantages while using the knobs for the installation of electrical wirings? We can be give an example. Yes, first is the use as temporary installation. About number two. So number two, good. So number two is it is economical when it is properly installed. Last is number three, good. So it has low operation temperature. So now we have to proceed for our topic this morning, this day. It is about non-metallic conduit. Non-metallic conduit example is the PVC. So it is an electrical material which are manufactured to be resistant of to moisture and chemical atmosphere, manufactured to be flame retardant. So it is not easily burned and also resistant to impact and crushing because PVC is buried. So buried on the ground together with the electrical materials like utility box and junction box where it is permitted to be used. One is to be conserved in floors, walls, and ceilings. So have you noticed in the buildings or your residential house? So there is a PVC buried on that. Number two, direct earth, boreal or underground. It is about 300 mm in trench below, 15 mm thick concrete or equivalent. So it depends upon the size of the PVC. It's either 1/2, 3/4, or 1 inch, or even more bigger PVC. It depends upon the wires to be installed inside that PVC. 600 mm under streets, highways, roads, alleys, driveway, and parking lots. 416 mm under driveways and parking lots for of single or two family dwelling units. 260 mm under airports, runways, including adjacent areas where trespassing is prohibited. In locations subject to be severe corrosive influences. In location where subject chemicals for which the materials are specified of food, cinder field. In wet locations, provide water is permitted from the enter the conduit. So in dry and damp locations, there are many uses in the PVC. So regarding with these um, uses, there are many kinds PVC to be used. So where it is not allowed to be used, basically under the following conditions. So there should have an disadvantages or not advantages where should not be allowed to use. So, number one, hazardous location, support of fixtures, physically damaged location, ambient temperature where subject to be ambient temperatures excess 50 degrees unless listed otherwise. Insulation temperature limitation for conductors whose insulation temperature limitations would exceed those for which conduit is listed, heaters and similar locations. So you have to say to it that there should have a proper installation of the PVC. What is PVC? We are common use the PVC, but we don't know what is the name about, or it is only the acronym. So the PVC or polyvinyl chloride rigid conduit is one of the most commonly used conduit in electrical wiring installation today. What are the necessary things need to be performed? The PVC pipe bending. In preparation of non-metallic rigid conduit for installation, and electricians like us or even you needs to do the cutting, heating and bending because PVC is need to be bent, need to be offset regardless with the size, but in the installation there should be bending and offsetting to connect the utility junction box or the funnel board. It depends upon the sizes. And preparing the non-metallic rigid conduit for installation, and electrical needs to cutting, heating or bending, making bends of PVC rigid conduit. The electrician should see to it that the internal diameter of the conduit is not reduced and damaged so that the capacity of the conduit to accommodate maximum number of conductors will not be lessened and to facilitate easily falling of conductors. Should not be kinks mapiko because there are some conduits or like PVC na should have 4 wires, 8 wires, or even large wire or big wires. It depends upon the size of the PVC. So it should not be kinks or the diameter should not be, shall we say, damaged. So there are different types of bending the PVC or offsetting the PVC. So first is the elbow or elbow 90 degrees. So number two, offset bend is less than 90 bend. It is to connect the PVC to other electrical materials like junction and utility or the funnel board. Round saddle bend is used when the conduit run across the circular object like pipes. You should know how to bend or round saddle bend when it comes to that particular situations of passing the round object. Square saddle bend is similar to round saddle. It is used when the conduit runs across rectangular obstacle. Square saddle is just a combination of two offset bends. So it has come with the defects of bending the PVC. So who among you already shall we say experience in doing a task and they should have damage or born during you perform that offset or bending 90 degrees. Okay, maybe all of us experience because we are not very perfect for us to be especially when you are first time to do the bend, to do the offset of the PVC. You should have born kinks, so mapiko. Number three is the diameter of the conduit is quickly reduced due to improper bending. Mo gamay. If you enter the 4 wires, only 3 wires can enter because of the diameter is damaged. So that's
It's time to get up. The time is 6.
so in this individual activity, I will give you 5 minutes to identify with the instruction is which is which. Identify the illustration pertains to choose from the box. So this would be the next box. Please familiarize the pictures. So this would be the choices. Round saddle bend, square bend, greatly reduced diameter offset bend, and elbow bend. So okay, the time's up. So let us proceed. Now, this would be your individual activity number 2, and you can perform this for 40 minutes. So in performing the bending of 90 degrees, you must consider preparing tools, materials, and equipment needed. So see to it that before you perform a task, you have to prepare all the necessary materials or equipments to be needed in performing particular tasks, because you should be um, prepared for whatever needed materials for your actual performance. So you have to prepare heat gun, so if available. If you don't have heat gun, you have to use the butane torch or alternative equipment. You can use your gas stove, pencil or chalk for your marking of measurement. So if there is no heat gun, charcoal if no heat gun available, steel meter stick or straight edge. The tools, which is tri-square, one-piece pole and post roll, steel tip, one-piece wheat rag, personal protective equipment, of course the gloves and respirator, because PVC also have chemical substance that we have to be prevent to be healed. Okay, maybe maka um, cause of asthma kung naa kay asthma. So this will be your individual performance to be performed, and that would be the PVC. Vertical measurement is 300 mm or 300 millimeter. The horizontal is 250 millimeter or mm, and then back to the vertical 300 mm or millimeters. So this would be um, very good performance if you do the proper measurement and then offsetting both sides and bending the 90 degrees. So the procedure, when you are ready to perform the task as your teachers, especially me, your or elder if you are in your home, parents, guardian to observe the supervise the process and to rate your performance using the assessment criteria. We should have rubrics. So I will give you the rubrics. Prepare the necessary tools, materials, and equipment. Wear appropriate PPE, especially gloves, because you have to hit the PVC. The greatest danger comes from vinyl chloride. So as what I have said earlier, primary component of fully vinyl chloride or PVC and odorless gas which should be released using the process. Vinyl chloride is a toxic carcinogen. It has been proven to cause angiosarcoma. So it is a deadly substance or can cause liver cancer. Use a good respirator and adequate ventilation to protect yourself from this toxin. So always do the septic procedure before you perform the task. So this will be the pictures. So if you have a room with a tile floor, you can use this as your 90 degrees angle. So if none, you have to illustrate the 90 degrees. Draw an arc near the corner with a radius of 100 mm. Will aid you in performing the elbow correctly. So this is used as your guide. That's one. So this pictures is your guide like this. Through an arc with an 100 mm measurement. So you have to use heat gun if you have heat gun, or if none, use charcoal or butane. So in bending, you have to measure um, from the center, measure 1 inch. So if this is the PVC, from the center of your measurement, example, from the edge, you have to measure 300 millimeter. So this is the 300 millimeter or 300 mm. So from 300 millimeter, measure 1 inch from the left and 1 inch to the right. And this would be, this would be the focus of your heat gun to have the perfect 90 degrees angle bend. So as what the picture shown in the slides. So use the wet rag and then perform the bend using the drone arc, or if you have tiles in your home, so you can use tiles. So during your actual, this would be the finished product. So I will show you how to perform in this, and this will be your guide in your actual performance. So I perform first, and then you do the same during your performance in the individual performance. So how to lay out 300 mm, 250 mm, and 300 mm. So as the picture shown, all materials and equipment should be prepared during the actual performance of you have to perform the task. Please finish the video. So in this actual on how to lay out and perform the actual measurement. So it is much better for if you have prepared all the needed materials and or tools for your task. So, as what I have said earlier, you can perform offset using heat gun, charcoal, or butane. And first, I will show you how to perform an offset using heat gun. So, see to it that there should be 1 inch from the PVC for you to hold and easy offset both edges of the PVC. So you have to adjust first the temperature to 450 degrees and slowly turn the PVC, and the distance between the PVC and the heat gun is also 1 inch so that it will not burn or result to damage PVC. Number 3, how to bend 90 degrees using dipping torch. So a while ago, I am using heat gun. Now, in bending 90 degrees, I will use butane. What are the difference between heat gun and butane? Of course, there's no difference. Only is the butane is manually operated, and heat gun, we have to use the electrical supply to operate the heat gun. But the result is similar. So you have also to adjust 1 inch from the butane to the heat gun so that it will not be burned or damage the PVC. Last is number So a lot of initiative or alternative on how to bend a PVC. So it depends upon the available equipment for us in our home. So if you have heat gun, you can use heat gun. If you don't have heat gun, you can use butane torch. If you don't have butane torch, you can use charcoal or even a gas stove. But always do the the safety precaution to avoid injury during to perform a specific task. So that would be your guide in performing your task. So always do safety. Do not neglect safety because it can result to injury. So thank you, and I will collect your finished output um, before we start with our new lesson. So good day and see you for our next discussion.